Nathan
What up?
and Deuce.
What's up, Nate? How you
Two
doing?
dads on a cell phone.
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Just so everybody knows, we're trying to keep this as normal as possible. It's what we do all the time, but we have to add an intro. The rules are now saying we have to add an intro, so we add an intro.
It's written.
That's the rule. So, intro. We do this anyway. This ain't your normally scheduled planned programming. We just make a phone call. But anyway,
That's it.
We were. I know I'm jumping right into it, but there was a video of I think I sent it to you. A video of a guy who I think he owned a paint company, or he was working as a painter or owned a paint company, and this guy was just raw emotion spilling. Almost like when the girls get emotional on TikTok, it was like that. But this was like a hard-working guy just talking about the pains of not being able to have enough money, not wanting to spend so much money. Everything costs money, and he's working hard every day. I guess he has a wife and a daughter, and having to look at them and explain why they don't have this. And it was graphic in a bad way. It was just graphic because of all the little details. Like the dude's hand, you could tell it was like it had that work ash on it. That work sludge.
Yeah, dude.
He was in his car. You could tell he had just got done working. I don't know if this guy's an actor, but if he is, they were gonna get him on TV quick because he was giving out some raw emotion. I was thinking about, I was kind of I don't know if I agree with him 100%, but I agree where he's coming from. And I think there's a lot of people who agree where he was coming from.
Yeah.
He's talking about working hard every day, not being able to make it. He's doing everything he can. He doesn't know what to do. Just expressing himself. And, I got to take his point a little bit. It's kind of crazy that, you can go out. You got a business, and that doesn't guarantee you financial income, that financial success.
Nope.
It doesn't guarantee it. I'm not gonna bother nobody, but I had to agree with some of his points with the cost of stuff. Prices of things changing. Why is it that someone who is, doing the thing that he's supposed to do can't get by?
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't add up. Why you gotta hustle? Is that really necessary? But his video was kind of powerful in an emotional way. I don't know. I just want that's the first thing that kind of popped in my brain today. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on maybe the video, the economics, working hard. I don't know if you had a viewpoint on.
Yeah. So this was a video by Bearded Norse.
Oh, you got it
on TikTok. Yeah. All
nice.
one word if you want to check it out. Just bearded Norse, like Norseman.
Norse.
From Norse. But yeah, man, I've worked with a lot of these type of people. Obviously not him particularly, but I gotta imagine that a guy like that is hard to get to tears.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was to a point where he was not. He didn't even have energy to protect his ego.
Yeah.
He was just I'm done. I can't go any further down this road. At least not today, Yeah. I've had days like that where I feel like that, where it's just everything's stacked against me, and I tried this job and it didn't work out, and I needed it to work, but it just didn't. And I had this bill collector call me I gotta file something for the state again. You know, uh, I got people that are impatient to get me out there, but they don't want to give me a payment yet.
Yeah.
All those type of things. And then you have family problems on top of that. Like stuff's going on in your family. We're not just robots, not yet.
Not yet. Soon.
And yeah, yeah, you can see he's like covered in paint or dirt or both, probably.
Yeah.
You know, he looks like he just got off a rough one. That's what I think. Like he just got off a rough job. And in the beginning too, he was talking about the psyops that are going on against us right now.
Yeah.
The Biden, the Trump, they want us to get involved in this and they want us to like stress about it and think about it.
He did.
I'll tell you right now, I don't spend any time thinking about the presidential election. I used to at one point when I was younger, but I've just peacefully come to a conclusion that I don't have a lot of power over it. I'll pay attention to it as if I pay attention to the weather. I will vote because I believe I believe it matters. I don't know that the elections are real. You know, I can't say that, but I do know that people read something. When I put a vote down, someone sees it. So I vote for that reason. And, but yeah, I sympathize a lot with this guy. I get it, man. I found myself very lucky to be in the, like, a very like high paid service industry. And I've found a lot of great customers who are willing to pay me very good wages. So I'm very thankful for that. But I see a lot of crews out there. And I see a lot of small business owners out there that I'm like, dude, you own a business, like you must be barely hanging on, because that looks like hard work. I know people don't want to pay a lot for it. Painting's hard, especially because there's so many people that are like, I can do that myself. I'm an electrician and I run into people saying that. So with painting, it's got to be every other job, I would assume.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Like I felt like his I hate that word anguish, but it's kind of like that, man. You know, if you out working in the sun all day, you know, you finally get that chance to sit down in that car or truck, whatever you in, you know. I felt like he was just he had just got done and he was enthralled. Like I just gotta get this off my chest. I got my kid, I got my wife, you know, I don't know how to do this. Something happened on that job, bro. Something happened. He must have bought the 5 gallons.
Yeah.
And it was the wrong cut. You know, it's like, I got to go back. Everything must have happened on that day for him to come out that way. But he was hitting some things, like, he was pulling up some interesting points with talking about psyops, you know? Because he did at the end get to the point, like, he said something at the end that was like, you know, when are we going to get tired? You know, something like that. I forgot when are we going to get tired? When are we going to get tired of this? You know, what we going to
he was saying, I'm tired. When are we going to stand up? When are we going to fight back?
You know?
Yeah, I sympathize with it, dude.
And that's sorry, people going crazy up here on I-95. That's the part that I 50-50 on, because I know people feel like that, but they're all worn out from working all the time. When they're gonna get the energy to dig that out and go do something about it? You need everybody to do it. And I think he made a good point. You know, he made a good point with that. Instead of everybody arguing about stuff that, like you said, shouldn't even spend no time thinking about it. Everyone's arguing over something political, but it ain't gonna change. That's for you in particular.
No.
Yay, your team won. Yay, yay. All right, go red, go blue. You know,
It's pretty much what it is.
but I still have like okay, so I always still question, and I mean you'll probably have a better thought or opinion on this too.
Hmm.
In certain industries, I don't. I mean, maybe more along the lines of construction, more along the
Yeah.
lines of specialty construction. In a field like painting, you don't think that there's enough economic involvement for a painting company of a small size to make enough to make a living?
Oh, I definitely think there is. But I think one of the things that I'm learning right now with business is that it takes a special type of person to do. I wouldn't say a special type of person. I would say it takes a lot of commitment. It takes a type of person to get into certain trades, and be able to excel to the highest level, become a master of that trade. That's not easy to do. But then on top of that, you have owning a business in that industry. Those are two very different things. When we're talking about these small companies, you could be a great electrician and a terrible electrical company owner. You could be a great plumber, but suck at closing a sale. You could be a great painter, but you argue with the customers over the paint. You take shortcuts. You put a little product in the paint to make it go longer, and it messes up. And the customer paid you a high price to get a certain look, and it didn't come out. Or you painted an extra hallway or something, and they were like, "I'm not paying for that."
Yeah,
There's a lot of things that go on. So I'm learning the difference between being a good tradesman, learning your skill and your craft, and being a good business owner in a specific trade, or like a service job or something. It's very different, I think.
yeah. I guess I wonder, like, if does DIY has DIY. I don't even know if that's still a strong thing, but has DIY, like, when it comes to everyone thinks that they can paint.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks, oh yeah, I can paint. I can paint this myself.
yeah,
Now I see that as a part of, like, well, commercialism, capitalism, kind of push that narrative in, and you think, man, if I get me some of that Sherman Williams paint. Matter of fact, this podcast sponsored by Sherman Williams.
official sponsor. Yeah.
Well, you get it right. If not, you come back and buy another one. Sherman Williams.
Check out that new gold label product line. It is
You need that gold label.
one coat.
One coat, paint and primer. Paint, primer, color, and sparkle. Gold, Sherman
Yep.
Williams.
They got that new Spackle Master brush too. That thing just,
You want a little
What's it?
spackle on your shackle?
man,
Get that Sherman Williams gold
can't
product.
beat it.
But like that whole product push kind of made people think, oh, I can do it myself. Which I never seen that. I don't see that come out right most of the time.
Yeah.
I see old dudes come. This how you put the paint. You want to cut that. You want to cut in here. This how you cut. Everybody got that thing. This how you do it. But
Yeah.
do you think that's messes up? The inflow of money for certain trades. Like most people know they can't put together an electrical panel. That's already too intimidating, and they
Yeah.
scared they're gonna die, right?
It's a real thought.
But
It's
then
definitely a reality.
but then, but then paint. People think, man, I just put some paint on the wall. That's it.
That's it.
So,
I like my sample spot so much. Let's just expand it.
yeah, no, this is gonna be no problem. So I wonder.
20 hours later.
And I think that what this guy was, I don't know. I don't know what his business situation is, but I personally think that in certain industries the game has changed because your job is no longer to be very good at painting. Your job is to give the customer what they want. And I don't know if that's a hard thing to accept. I don't think every industry can be like that because certain things you'll die if you do what the customer wants. But if someone's paying you to paint, they kind of have this idea, and you kind of got to entertain them, right? Am I off? Or?
Yeah. No, I think it's right. I think that a lot of it has to do with the way our state governments are set up. Like there just needs to be more offered to people to get out of where they're at, I think. Like it's hard to start a business. It's hard to get all the licensing. It's hard to keep up with all the government notices, especially if you're the type of person. So I'm learning DIY in business right now. You think you own a home and there's opportunities for DIY? A business is exactly the same way. Oh, I could do that myself. Little number entry, a little accounting.
Yeah,
Dude, I could be my own CPA. I could file taxes.
I know the books that's quick. I know the books that's quick.
Also sponsored by QuickBooks.
QuickBooks.
It's a great product.
Get your books and get them quick. QuickBooks.
I use it myself.
Get everything you need. One click with a QuickBooks.
Click.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where I'm like, should I try this myself or hire something out? And usually I do the same thing as homeowners do. Like I'll try to paint a room myself, and once I do, I'm like, okay, let's try to paint a room by hiring someone out. And then you see what happens, and they're done in like 10 minutes, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing that every time. This is dumb.
Yeah.
Take my money.
And
I don't need it.
Well, I call that that's an economic choice. That if you don't weigh out, if you just listen to a certain idea, oh yeah. If you do it yourself, it's always cheaper. No, it's not.
It's not. Especially in business. In business, it's crazy expensive.
It's so provable with certain things that it's almost better to hire someone out on certain things because if they're working in volume, they can offer it to you at a lower price, and it's gonna have a certain level of correctness that you just don't know because you're not studying that field. Like bookkeeping is something that, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that there are so many people who are already out there ready to do it. Now, I think even bookkeepers are bad at business because they have a service that you almost basically need, but it's so hard to find them. They need the bookkeepers.
So hard.
The bookkeepers need to hire marketing people and IT people to make better programs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes hiring out certain services make things so much easier. So much easier.
Well, and I think right now we're kind of in a weird spot because a lot of the people who are experts in those fields are also older and they're not experts with technology. So these software companies probably develop a product and they're like, oh, we want to talk to the best people in this business, but these people don't understand how to explain it in a way where a software engineer could build a product that's easy to use for someone who uses technology a lot.
Yeah.
So I think as time goes on, there'll be more and more people that are pretty good with technology and they're experts at accounting or whatever it is. and then we'll have some really great products. And man, these products need to stop making stuff so graphic-y and like complicated. Like, I don't need to see any little videos or pictures in my business software. I just need it to work smoothly, because
Yeah.
I'm in front of a customer entering stuff in. I can't have it loading and buffering and all that. I have to look professional. So if you could simplify it, that'd be great. You know?
Yeah. Now you're speaking. Now you giving consulting. You know,
Seriously.
you're giving out good ideas, bro. You gotta.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's yeah, and
Well.
we've talked about this a few times. I think more and more people are. Well, wait, let me go back and answer your question about DIY.
Yeah. And I got another.
So,
I got another question, but
so I think. Okay, so the
after.
DIY thing,
Yeah.
I think will always be there. Like, unless they take stuff out of Home Depot and just make it so you have to have a license to buy paint or something, or electrical products or anything, there'll always be DIY. And I think there should. Like, I think you should be able to work on anything in your home and fix it, because some people are really good at it, just being DIY. The problem I see is when people aren't good at it, but they don't want to admit it, or they don't want to recognize it and just pay somebody. They'll just keep fighting for that.
Yeah.
But it's always been around. I think people are becoming less and less capable now that parents don't teach kids how to do basic stuff like paint or draw or build. Like, make a board level and screw it in. Use a drill. Use an impact.
Yeah.
Kids don't know how to do that stuff anymore. So it probably will go down some, but I think it's always going to be there.
That's a good point. So back to the bearded Norse. I forgot his name.
Bearded Norse.
Bearded Norse video. All right. So
Yeah, man.
the other part of it, because this kind of works around. He said he was talking about something like he was talking about now having to go home and face his wife and
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
Right. I don't know. Why is that such a factor? Why do you think that because of changes in the economy, they like that? Everyone loves the word inflation. I'm just going to use it, but I don't believe that's the total thing. But do you think that there's a separation if you have a wife at home that doesn't understand how hard or easy things are, or have expectations? Like, why is that? Why is that always like a? I guess that I'm using it as a general question, but why is that always a point of like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna go home and tell my wife, we don't got enough for this bill. We gotta wait. We gotta wait before we buy this thing. My daughter needs things for school. We gotta wait. Why is that such a point of contention for men? I guess it's for men. Is it pride? Is it ego? Is it like, I'm just wondering your thoughts.
I think of course it is. Like, who doesn't like to win? Who doesn't like to come home with a W? Like, I love coming in the kitchen when I get home and my wife's in there and just be like, "Yep, closed a couple more jobs today. We're set up for the next month. We're able to go on a little trip in the next couple weeks if you want to." Who doesn't love saying that stuff? Like, I am the man of the house and I made something happy. I think you have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can lose all the time and keep going with whatever you're doing.
Oh yeah, okay. So I guess that's the question. How many people winning right now? Do you see more people winning, or do you see? I still think you have made some very unique success movements, and
Yeah.
you can't take that from yourself, like,
No.
you work through something, built something, and it's working. And I guess that question is that most people? Is that most? I don't think I know, and I don't have to think. I know it's not most people, but I do wonder what happens to a country when you don't have a lot of winners, right? And like, I'm not saying one person can't feel like this, but when a lot of people keep saying they feeling like that, there got to be something that we got to fix. Has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should say this. I'm surprised that people have like survived this long um without like going crazy, tearing their house apart and starting a bonfire out in their lawn with pieces from their house and furniture and just like sat out there and wept.
Damn.
Um,
Damn.
just because like there's so many things coming against people right now. You got psyops, you got phone addictions, you got tobacco addictions on the huge rise. You got slavery that's at its biggest point it ever has been in history. I think it's like by triple right now. I mean, this is the time where we've had the most slaves. The American system is becoming more and more refined and harmful to people's health, mental health and physical health. You know, there's a lot more stuff in foods, I think, that's detrimental to you. That science is making stuff come out all the time. Like they'll fix one thing and then 3 more will pop up that are just as bad, if not worse. And it takes years before people go, hey, let's stop eating aspartame or whatever it is. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's just a constant, like when you feel like you're working so hard, but there's no support behind you from your government or your family. And it looks like tomorrow's going to get a little bit worse than today was. Man, it's a hard place to be in.
All right. Well, so okay. So do you think now? This is my thought. This is my opinion on that. Right.
Yeah.
When I see a man that's trying to work every day, work hard, and take care of his family, and that's becoming such an ordeal or a drag, I have to ask the question: is this by design? Is this by design from all the things that went ahead and said, "Oh, this is what we have to do. This is what you got to believe in." Is it by design where it's like, you know what? It's so much easier to be single. Where you have people separated, you have family separated. There's a couple things that like sometimes it comes as a shock to some people, but I always wonder. For example, the family court system. Some states profit off of child support. Child support is a very profitable thing for the state. So wouldn't that incentivize the state to make people separate? Let's make sure that we have a bunch of, if you are together and you got kids, well, let's make it kind of tricky and separate, because now that's funding the retirement fund for the state, right? That happens.
Yeah.
You got to think, why is it so difficult for families to just live? Because there's some people working at the same place as someone single. Well, the single person don't have as much to pay for now. But the person working at your job with you still has a family to support. Wouldn't that by design just say, like, start tearing people apart? Like, I'm working every day, you working every day, we don't see each other. I see my kids at night, and that's what's supposed to happen. That's what you're supposed to do, which that kind of stemmed from the whole feminist movement, right?
Yeah.
So I start asking, is that by design? To the point where you got to do like Bearded Norse in his car giving that TikTok cry. We got to do something,
Yeah.
So I wonder. if if it's not by design.
Well, if you believe that the American government is in a place right now, I don't want to say it's design, but if you think the American government is in a place right now that's going to help you and support you in any way, you're super delusional. What it looks like to me is there's things that they protect us with the police and the military, I guess. But for a lot of stuff, one of the parts about being free is you have the freedom to do what you want. And part of allowing companies to have a lot of freedom in America, which I think is necessary. I wish America would follow its own laws, but they're bad at that. And there's lots of loopholes, obviously, to find. But I also don't think people should be relying on the system for their happiness and their well-being. I see lots of people working at a job for 20 years and they say, I hate my job. Well, then, I want to help you, but at the same time, are you going to do anything about it? Every time I've talked to someone who's worked at a company for 20 years, I might as well wish for the sky to be gold, because they're just not going to change. There's a difference in being in a hard place and just complaining. If you're in a hard place, you can get yourself out. There's things to do. Change what you're doing. I mean, as far as Bearded Norse goes, I don't know exactly how I could help him with advice, but it sounds like he's got to do something different. Maybe it's advertise that he's owned a company and work for another company as an estimator. He could probably make more money doing that and have a lot less stress on his plate. Or take business classes, get a business coach, figure out why your company is so hard for you to run every day. If it's the area you're in, move. I've lived in poor areas and I would never have a business in those areas. That, as much as I love the people there, if you're in a poor area, you're going to be poor too.
Or you got to have a certain type of business.
Something.
You got to have a specific type of business.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can get money from somewhere else and bring it into your area, and your area is poor, sometimes that means your area is cheaper to live in, and people at home that work from home that used to work in California and now they work in Arkansas or someplace a little more rural.
Yeah.
They're going to make more money because they don't have all the living expenses that came with California.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It sounds like, I'm all up for fighting and supporting each other and, pushing back against the system. But I don't see people pushing back against the system in the biggest way that they could, which is stop buying junk. Stop going to your job that you hate. Stop living in an area that you don't like. If you don't like something, change it. Especially the buying stuff. You're voting with your money. Oh, aspartame's terrible, but I love my Diet Pepsi.
Also sponsor our show. Coke. Sponsor the Coke. You drinking too much of that good stuff? We got it in diet. No sugar. Can you believe that? Sponsored by Diet Coke. Coca-Cola.
You may forget who your family is when you're 80, but it's good.
You know what Coke Zero stand for? Zero memories left when you get old. Get your Coke Zero. Get your Coke Zero. Sponsored by Coke. We don't mean this. We just joking. We just a podcast. Send us a check. Anyway.
Comedy show. It's a comedy.
Okay. All right. So, this is a thing now. Because, I'm trying to think like, everyone would say like, oh, just leave. Just leave. I hear you. Go somewhere else. You don't like a job, quit. But then what? Okay. What did someone do? I think that's the question that I think this system is built so strong you have to make such an intentional move. You have to destroy your ego. You have to be willing to let everything go, and you got to be willing to be ridiculed to make those moves.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody got that gusto, man. I don't think everybody got that gusto. They don't got that grit to do that, and they're not affect them. You know, people talk about mental health, and it not hit them over the head, right? You know, you got to
Yeah.
have an intentional plan. Like right off the top of my head, I think you got to start preparing 5 months out. You need to save up 5 months worth just to make that move. You know,
Yeah.
then in that time, you probably got to find the place that you want to go next, and at least meet somebody, or try to figure out how you can get to that next job or thing you would love doing. Because in the meantime, you got rent or mortgage. You got to live somewhere. You got grocery or fast food. How you gonna eat? And even those two things right there have those stigmas that you got to fight. Do you need to rent a certain place? No, but you know, some people need to have that. I gotta have a safe place to live, right?
Yeah.
That's. But then okay, and then you gotta eat. Where you gonna get food? You gonna go to the grocery store? Or you gonna be willing to go to, you know, a soup? Not gonna say a soup kitchen, but you know, a place where they may be handing out food. That too, you know, that you can't do that. You know, it says all those things you gotta fight to make those moves. So
I know, and not everyone's going to be able to do these things that I'm talking about. Like, it's not going to be everyone. And there are people that some of us are going to have to help out a little bit here and there. Like, that's one of the reasons why I'm running so fast and so hard to get to where I want to go, because I want to be in a place where I can help people, you know?
yeah,
And I don't have an answer for a lot of that stuff. I mean, that's what I would do if I could. Is like the first thing you could do is change your environment. If you can't change the environment, just change as much as you can. Like, start losing weight, start exercising. I know everyone can do that. You know, try to eat as healthy as possible within your budget. Don't go over your budget, but at least try to fix little things that at least they'll help your marriage. At least people will respect you and talk to you better. You probably, if you have any kind of company, you're going to close more sales the better you look. I'll just tell you that from experience.
dang, you got to be hot to close the sales.
You don't have to, but it's another tool in the tool belt.
You know,
You know, it's got perks,
you got the perks. All right,
and you can change it. Like, anyone can change it.
yeah,
Like, anyone can change that. You can also change your family. Like, you can, not in all cases, but you know, you could start being the change in your relationship. Try to find out what your spouse needs and take care of that. Whatever it is, if it's the way you look, the way you act, the place that they're living in. And some people are just going to be spoiled and ignorant, and you can't help them, and you got to understand that. I get it.
100%.
You know,
100%.
that's a very hard thing for me even to say, because it's like, I think there's probably most cases out there where it's going to be a hard go, but I still think you should try, because maybe you just think it's impossible, but you start doing little things here and there, and it gets better. There's things that I thought were impossible about my marriage, and I've had a ton of change in those areas in the last few years, just because I realized I wasn't being supportive enough, or I was doing something that drove my wife crazy, and I just stopped doing it.
Yeah,
But
that's a. I mean, that's a interesting like perspective.
I don't know if that
'cause, I mean,
helps, but
nah. Look, I'm just on the plane where the plane of thought that Everyone needs to hear everything that someone else has to say, also along with their own thoughts, because I don't think someone else's answer is going to be your answer. But you can take 10% from what everyone's saying, bro. You'll build something for yourself that's great. So someone needs to hear that. Like, yeah, man, I had to do some stuff and get my shit together with certain things, because that's what worked it out for us. And someone may need to hear that. Like,
Yeah.
start working on yourself first. You can't, you probably can't do everything at one time, but yeah, maybe go out for a little jog, or maybe not.
Every day.
Go for a walk,
At least.
something, uh,
At least.
whatever it is. I think marriage, marriage right now is, I forgot what the numbers are. I heard someone was talking about it. The marriage rate has drastically declined, and the remarriage, having a second marriage rate has a crazy failure rate. I forgot exactly what the percentage is, but it don't work. It ain't working right now.
I think people have it a lot easier in their childhoods now, and it's harder for them to function when the world's hard. Childhood used to be a lot harder, I think. Well, like, I even look at pictures of the 1800s or like the early 1900s, where you see like kids standing out on the street corners with like pocket watches and little suits that they probably made themselves, like doing business deals with the neighborhood kids. Like, those kids came from hard times, man. Like, they probably didn't eat every meal, and a lot of them were poor. They had to work when they were like 10 years old just to make like a couple pennies a day to buy some food. And now people are 25, 30 years old and just moving out of their parents' house. The world's gonna suck because it hasn't changed a lot, and a lot of things have gotten even trickier and more complicated, I think.
I don't. I have a problem with. I have a problem with not with the way things set, because if I'm thinking of it, let's skip over that whole thought. But just from a human standpoint, like, no kid should be, with all the resources that's been available on this earth forever. No little kid should have to worry about being hungry. I think that's a problematic system. Like, I know that, yeah, quote unquote tough times make tough people, which make great people. Okay, I agree. But I think, where has the real evolution gone to, where it's like we still shouldn't have people struggling to eat, have a place to live, or anything that would be a decent quality for a human being to be a human. I think we have so much better things if basic things were not covered, but the understanding was there that it's not a capitalistic driver,
Do you think?
But
Do you think that's a right, though? Do you think that like everyone has the right to have food and to have housing and to have like you think that's a right?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I don't think it is.
If I took a step back and said, like, are you gonna get it? Hell no, you're not. I'm a realist. I'm gonna tell you, yeah. In this whole world, the way it's set up, this system, all systems. No, is it a right? No, it's not. It's not a right. No. But if I was to say, should humans have it? I would say the answer should be yes, because it's okay. Humans can't live in a shelter that they can build from things they can grab from nature, because we're not animals. right? You know, you don't want people to be, you know, animals can pull things from, they have natural places to live, or they build some type of shelter or structure with the resources that surround them.
People can't do
I,
that?
don't- I, I don't, I'm gonna say this. I don't think that, I know that people can do it, but the repercussions of doing that means you might end up in jail. That, like, the repercussions of that inside of the system means that you definitely can't have no kids in that environment. 100% you cannot,
Yeah.
right? You can't so your offspring, or you try to grow a family. No, you want to live that way, you can live, but you better not be anywhere near any type of city center or any type of development. So, you know, you're gonna be out in the wild. Yeah, you can live like that, maybe,
Yeah.
but and then definitely you add children in. I mean, unless you're willing to be a very good criminal, be off the grid for real, you know, then you can't do that. Like,
I know, but the point that I guess I'm trying to make is that I definitely don't think it's a right to have any of this stuff that we have. I think it's a privilege, and I think that people need to start recognizing that and get rid of the entitlement that they have, and realize that getting out of something that you don't like and into something that you would be more comfortable with, I think it can be attained. It's just never going to happen if you stay the current course, let the circumstances that are going on around you just keep going on. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of, is just people letting the circumstances go around them. They're getting more drawn into their phones. They're becoming more addicted to all these things that the industrial machine is throwing at them. They're spending more and more money. They all have a ton of subscriptions to stuff that they don't need. They're buying new cars just to impress their friends, not because it actually helps their way of life. And I feel sorry for the situation, but I don't feel sorry in a lot of cases, because people need to learn lessons like I've had to do. And I hope the best for people. I hope that people have as much opportunity as I have, if not more. But I have lived most of my adult life. I used to think it was a right that I had all these things as an American man, that everything should just fall in place for me. But the more and more that I've had to go through things to work to get to the spot that I am now, I'm like, I appreciate every aspect of the journey. And I think the more people I can get to come along the journey with me, to work hard and get themselves out of the circumstances they have now, if more people do that, we'll be able to help a lot of people. And there's people that can't do that right now, and they're going to rely on the people like myself to get into a better position where I can help them. Because people who are 60, 70, 80 years old, like, they can't turn their life around at that point.
okay, so do you think this is where I kind of stand? Do you think that this system, the system is just so, all this stuff is the result of a broken system? All this stuff is the result of a broken ideology. Do you think that's even like a possibility? You know, like, why is a person that's worked their whole life now has to, after they retire, put on, you know, I don't want to say the company's name, but they got to put on that blue vest and get that little extra income.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, I'm not saying it's not a right. That's a hard word for me to say. Yeah, it's a right, but I do think that the ideology is kind of backwards to me. You know, maybe it's just.
Well, I think people have been lied to.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. 100% lied to.
I wish our system was a little more honest with people. I believe it's a lot of our system that has been telling people that it is a right. Like you should be able to just not do much and you should get all this stuff. You should be entitled. You should sue your neighbors for anything. You should buy stuff that you don't have money to buy. These are all consumer attitudes. So of course, a place that's mostly ran by corporations is going to want you to be in that position so that you'll buy and you'll subscribe into Social Security and you'll, believe in retirements and invest in 401ks.
What? You don't believe in Social Security?
I don't.
I'm sorry, bro. I had to.
Also sponsored by Social Security.
Also, this is sponsored. Get your ass out of work by 69. Get your Social Security check.
But if you want that little bonus, 5 years is all it takes.
69.
5 years is all it takes.
69. Add a little 5. Got your Social Security check. Got your Social Security check. It's gonna be there. Millennials, you gonna have your Social Security check. It's gonna be there. Let me stop.
This is definitely a comedy show. I love it.
It's gonna be there for you. It's gonna
right in that little bank account, and no one's going to invest with it.
Yeah, no one touched that. That thing is sitting
safe.
in a secure vault. That thing is backed by 100% gold.
That's right next to your sovereign citizenship papers that you'll get on the same day.
Just sign. Get that Social Security check. Get that Social Security check. Yeah, I think that my 3D, 4D, 5D thinking brain hit that level of like seeing people as people, and what I see people who don't fit inside of the system, how they have to try to make it through. And I think right now I'm faced with it again. I think when I was younger, I was faced with two things. I had a dad who was like, worked very hard and moved to different situations from a very hard place. He grew up on an island. Now that's totally, that's a totally different ideology of lifestyle. But he came to America and did his thing.
Yeah.
Became a fireman, all that stuff, right? But I was also smashed with another world of people who were here. And when I was younger, I thought, maybe they just don't know. Maybe they just don't have the education. Now, I broke through that barrier. Oh, wait, it's not the education. It's not. Everybody who has a lot of money isn't necessarily educated. There's some very educated people here. And then you start saying, well, maybe they didn't start a business, they should have started a business. And then you find out, well, business has up and down. Some people make it, some people make it big, some people make it medium. But I think, just like us, as going to Australia and seeing different things, and then even coming back, getting out of the American system for a couple of years and then coming back in, you appreciate a lot of things. But then I also see all right, now around the world,
I became very patriotic after that, dude.
You did. You did, bro. That's true.
I got patriotic. I got a little scared over there.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think I asked a lot more questions about America when I got back. I really did. A ton. Well, I think that's what it hit for me. Like, everyone can't do the same thing that I can do, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if humans just had certain things, there would be so much better things. Like if humans had food and shelter. I'm not saying it's got to be like crazy, but economic brain rot has to be a thing. Damn, I got to wake up and go to work every day. And in other countries, they don't do that. Every country doesn't do that, man.
Yeah.
Some countries do value vacation time. They're not working every day just to work, they're not living to work. I hate that kind of comment, but there are places where people don't have the same, like, I hate that word work ethic, but their thoughts on work is just different.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I just think about the possibilities if every person or group had basic necessities, what will happen? Will there be a bunch of lazy people? Of course, but there's lazy people right now. You know, there's going to be lazy people, but there might be someone who is extremely creative or talented, and they're not touching that. They're not touching that thing that could inspire or grow or move humanity forward in thought and spirituality. Because, bro, they got to work. You know, they got to work every day. So I think about that. You know, I don't have the whole like, hey, everyone deserves to get a free thing. I don't have that thought.
Yeah.
But I do think about the human side of it. Like, you know, if everyone did have certain things, not everything, you can't have everything, but what would that look like? What would the world look like? What would there be even any room for like, oh, I don't have because of this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't achieve this because of this. You know, what achievements that would probably help everybody in each field would be around? Like, think about those who do like healthcare. Bro, it's probably some people not inventing something because they don't get paid enough to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I think my thought is kind of far off, hopeful, dopeful stuff, because it ain't gonna happen like that. Not right now. Unless some shit blow up or shut down, it ain't. you gonna have to work, baby boy, baby girl. You're gonna have to work. But
I will say this. I think what people need to do, or what they should do, which I'm doing, is find people to pool your resources around you. Like, if you have people are one of the best resources that you can find. That's what we're doing with this podcast. I wasn't going to start this thing on my own.
Yeah.
You probably could have, but I don't know that you were.
Nah.
But together, it's like, let's do this thing. We could do this. We could make it happen. Bearded Norse out there, maybe he could find someone to do business with. Maybe he has a good painting friend of his who's more of the salesman type, who's like, oh yeah, I can close deals. Whatever you're lacking in your life, like, you got to realize you can't do everything well. Someone's going to do something better than you or have more knowledge than you in something, which means they're more inclined to learn that and become an expert in that field in some way. I get that there's circumstance sometimes behind people's expertise, but most times people get a skill because it's what they want to look into. It's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So, man, pull your resources out there. Like, if everyone just stopped relying on the government, which everyone knows sucks, and the church as a whole, for the most part, is pretty close behind it,
Dang. Hit him with that.
I mean, I can only speak from experience, but a group of close friends or people that you know, or maybe you and your wife, can come up with ideas of how to get yourself out of your current situation,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have your dad. He's a great resource. You have other people in your life that are amazing. You have your wife. You can do stuff with these people, and Bearded Norse can do the same thing. I do it. I love it when someone can do something better than me, because it's probably something I suck at.
I don't like giving advice, but I haven't. I'll give Bearded Norse some marketing advice.
There you go.
And I know it'll work.
Okay.
Homie, you put your emotion out in the world, you just went viral. If you don't put your company name out there one time after this video, I'm not gonna feel bad no more. If you don't come out with a video the next day I own Paint Man with a Beard LLC, Bearded Noise Paint Crew tomorrow, then I'm gonna say, bro, that's what that you gotta seize this opportunity. You got a problem. You went viral. Everybody's paying attention to you right now. Now's the time. Don't be trying to be a TikTok star. Tell me where I can get Bearded Norse paint today.
Yeah.
Today.
I mean,
Where can I get it?
paint rolls on better with tears. Like,
Ooh, that's the line. Bearded Norse. Paint rolls on with better with tears. This is my video. Look, I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to win. Bro, use it. Use it. Put your ego down. Use it. You the paint man now. You are the paint man. Everywhere you go, you need to be the paint man now. I got a question about paint. Who I'm gonna talk to? Bearded Norse. He know paint, right?
yeah.
He should be Bearded Norse. You need to you need to be TikTok paint man. This how you put paint on a flat wall, and then you want to help the ladies. You gotta sand it. You gotta put your prime on. You gotta get your blue tape. This how you do it. Just like the old dude, old black guy that know how to do everything in my old neighborhood. This how you put the tape on. This how you cut it up. You dip it in there. Don't stir that with. You gotta get a wooden stick. Bearded Norse. That's what you need to be on the internet right now, and you'll have no more money problems. You went viral, homie.
Dude, that's like the greatest advice I've heard. I couldn't even think of something better to say because I would never make a video like that. It's just not me. He likes making videos. He likes putting his emotions out there and putting in time to do it. Man, dude, make some painting videos. Like,
it worked.
Listen to my brother here.
You know what's funny? He was complaining about not making it. You did it. You did something that made it, bro. The video made it.
Yeah. Let's look at this.
It hit. It came across my feed, so I'm like, bro, you talking about what don't work? The universe is explaining to you maybe what you're doing is not working. Okay, but this thing is working. You just did something that worked.
Bro, he has 150 or 148,000 hearts, 32.8 thousand comments,
bro,
18.2 thousand shares. We don't have anything like that on this podcast.
Well, the point is, that's what I'm trying to say. The point is, homie, you did it.
Yeah.
You hit the golden buzzer. Now, what most people gonna do, because they're not experts in this, they're gonna drop it. So Bearded Noise, I'm telling you, don't drop it. Don't drop it right now. You're on the roll, ride it. If you don't know how to do it, ask somebody. DM me.
Oh, okay, too. I've got some advice too.
What's that?
I just looked at his TikTok page. There's a couple videos of painting, it looks like, but then there's 3 posts of political stuff about the debate,
boy.
like text stuff. Dude, you got to get off that.
Get off of that, bro. Stop wasting time.
You can't be looking at politics. There's nothing you can do about that. I see a lot of people get hung up on this, and it's, I understand. I get it. I sympathize with you. It's very frustrating. It's very stupid. But get off of it.
Get off of it. You're right.
Delete it.
You're right, bro.
Don't turn on your TV and maybe want to put down your phone most of the time. Don't scroll videos because 90% of it's that crap right now.
That's great advice, bro. That is great advice. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna hear this or not.
I don't either, but that's what I would say.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know how to tell people that. Like if you want to enjoy the political entertainment, then I like talking about it. Nancy Pelosi is an interesting topic to me. It's sponsored by Nancy Pelosi and her stock trades. You want to make some profit? Get the Pelosi.
Brought to you by Insider Trading.
Hey, I need some of that. Nancy, start a little subscription for me. Just let me know on Thursday. Get that oil stock because it's going.
Brought to you
by out on Friday
by NancyTips.com, where you can find out news before it happens. get that gold finger all of a sudden. Like, touch it, go thing.
You haven't heard it? Learn it. Whatever not. The music stops.